Okay, today we're going to do for loops for the first time. I've opened up all these tasks, tasks 1 to 4, and I've got a star activity there as well. These are all opened up so you could do them in any order. Please try and do them in the correct order. So I'm going to do star activity first, which is a refresher on if statements. And here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in get user data. And the purpose of this one is we are going to get two numbers, number 1 and number 2, and we're going to find out which one's biggest. Okay, so I'm going to do int input, and that will turn it into an integer. And I'm going to do the same thing for the next one as well. And there we go. Next thing I'll do is I'm going to use an if statement to find the biggest integer. So an if statement, if num1 is greater than num2, so that is the maths expression to find greater than, then we will just print out num1, else print num2. Next thing I'm going to do with that. So, okay, let's just have a quick look at that. Num1 greater than num2, that's either true or it's false. So that is a Boolean test, a Boolean condition. If num1 is bigger than num2, then that's true, otherwise it's false. If it's true, we run this. If it's false, we run this bit here. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is run that, and I'll put in a couple of test values, and I'm going to put in the values that are over here, 4 and 10, yeah, 10 is biggest. I'm going to run it again and use 6 and 6. And it's done 6. I'll do one that I'll make myself, and I'll do 5 and 12, and it's done 12, and that's great. Next thing I'll do here, so these all work, is I'll do run tests. Sometimes when you do this, it will come up with a data mismatch, and sometimes you just need to run again. Finally, I'll do submit. And it's past that. You have to remember to do the submit, and that way I know that you've got it all sorted. I've gone back to the classroom. Now I'm going to do task 1, for loops. Okay, so on here it says given two integers a and b, print all numbers from a to b inclusive. So example input 1 and 10, and it wants you to print out the numbers 1 to 10. Okay, so what we'll do is a little bit like the last task, but I'm going to call it start and stop. Remember, make your variable names sensible. So I'm going to get two numbers, start and stop. Okay, and now I'm going to make a for loop. So so it's a for loop to generate a list of all the numbers. Okay, so a for loop starts like this, for, and then we have a looping variable for I in range, and we start with the start, and we finish with stop. And I'm going to do +1, and it's stop +1 because otherwise it won't print out the 10. Put a colon in, and then print I. Okay, and that should be it. So I'm going to run that. I'm going to do 1, 10, and it's printed out the numbers 1 to 10. I'm going to run that as a test now and see if it's okay with that. Yeah, and that's worked fine. Okay, the example output makes it look like it's all on the same line, but that's okay, that doesn't matter on this occasion. I can show you how to do that as well, but we don't need to just now. So that's task 1. For I in range, start to stop +1. As a matter of interest, if I'd just done stop, it wouldn't get to the 10. Okay, so I'm going to run that. And if I'd done that, 1, 10, it would only go as far as 9. Okay, so it never, with a for loop, it never reaches the stop point, and that's why we need to add 1 to that. I could have added 1 to it up here, I decided to do it down there. Okay, and so if I run the tests again just to check that it works, passes all the 5 tests. And the last thing I do with this is submit. And so that's fine. I'm now going to move on to task 2. Pause these and have a go yourself. Really try and get them done. Next one, given 2 integers a and b, print all the numbers from a to b inclusively in increasing order if a is less than b, or decreasing order if a is greater than or equal to b. Okay, so this is a more difficult one. Okay, so the first bit's nice and easy. So here, get user input. Okay, so here, and I'm going to call them num1 and num2 this time, because I don't know which one will do the start. Okay, so get num1, num2. Okay, and it says here that print all the numbers from a to b if a is less than b, or go backwards. Okay, so here, if a is less than b, I suppose I could call them a. If a is less than b, then I'm going to print them off using that for loop. And there's a start and a stop. I'm going to add 1. And I'm going to print out I. So I'm always printing out this looping variable. And I'm going to run that and see if that works. So if I do 3 and 10, it should print out from 3 to 10, and it has done. Here, if I run it again, and if I do 6 and then a smaller number like 1, shouldn't do anything, and it hasn't. Okay, but now here I'll go back there and do an else. Otherwise it prints out in decreasing order. So here we're going to do a for loop that goes backwards for I in range. So it looks almost the same. So num1 to num2. But we also have a step, okay, and the step is -1. The step for a normal for loop is +1. In other words, it goes 3, 4, 5, 6. But here, it would go backwards. So let's just see what that does. I'm going to run that, and I'm going to use the test inputs here. So I'll start with 2 and 8 first. So that bit still works. And now I'm going to do the test inputs it's got there, which is 8 and 5. And it's done 876, and it should have done 8765. So here it didn't get to that value. We need to go 1 less than that. So if I do -1, if you don't understand that, then you can pause the video and have a think about it. But we don't get to the stop value, so we need to either increase the stop value by 1 if we're going up the way, and decrease it by 1 if we're going down the way. If I run that now and do 8 and 5, 8 is bigger than 5, A is bigger than B, so it decreases. And so here we can see an if statement which identifies which one's biggest, and 2 separate for loops which will either print out the numbers in ascending order, getting bigger, or in descending order, getting smaller, using this step. Okay, start, stop, step. I'm going to run the tests, and all those tests have passed. I'm going to submit, and that's worked. I'll go back to the classroom, and I can see I've completed those 2 tasks. Now I'm going to do this next one here. 10 numbers are given in the input. Read them and print their sum. Use as few variables as you can. Okay, so 10 numbers are given in the input. Read them and print their sum. Okay, so what you might have done is something like total is equal to 0. Okay, and there I'll put a comment in if we didn't have a for loop, what you would normally do is num1 is equal to int input, and then total is equal to total plus num1. Yeah, and I could do print total there as well, just to check that it works. Syntax error. And then I could do all that stuff again. I'm just going to copy and paste it for a second. And I'll change that from num1, I'll change it to num2 now. Okay, and here I'm just going to run that. I'm going to type the number 4 and the number 6, and it's printed out 10. And I could do that 10 times and get the number. I could get the answer, and it would pass the tests. But if you do that, you're not doing it correct. Because what we should do here, instead of all this stuff there, we should have a for loop for, and I'm just going to call it for value in range 0, 10, because that will loop 10 times. And then here we can say num equals int input, and then total plus equals num, and that means it will allow us to collect 10 numbers together. And I can run that, and here if I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it's done 45. It's a really good way of getting lots and lots of numbers from somebody, because if you don't do that, I could give you a task that asks for 100 numbers. I'm going to run the tests, and it's passed the tests. And then I'm going to submit the code, and it's submitted. Okay, so that's added 10 numbers together with hardly any lines in there. Okay, hardly any lines of code. So next one, task 4. N numbers are given in the input, read them and print their sum. The first line of the input contains the integer n, which is the number of integers to follow. Alright, so here, get the number of integers to be added. Yeah, so n, and this time I'm going to use the variable names that they've got. N is equal to int input. Okay, so that gives us how many times we need to loop. And now I'm going to do a for loop. I'm just going to do 0n. And then I'm going to add all the numbers together. Next thing I need to do is set a total here. So you need to set the total because you're going to be adding to it, so you've got to have a total that starts at 0. And then here, same as last time, number is equal to int input, getting the numbers, and total plus equals num. If I try to run that now, I wonder if that would work. Okay, so I'm going to print total. Okay, print total. So I'm going to run that. I'm just going to run it, and I'm going to try and collect 3 numbers together. Okay, 10. Problem. Name error. Name title is not defined. I've made a spelling mistake here, and that's a syntax error. So you need to learn to try and fix your own syntax errors, your own problems. I'm going to run it again. Try and add 3 numbers together. 10, 2, 20, 32. Brilliant. So I think that works. I did it with just 3 numbers. You could do it with loads of numbers. Okay, so here, 7 numbers. If I added 2, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, and 8. So 2, 5, 6, that's 13, 20, 29 that should be. Yes, so that works. Run the tests. And then submit the code. Okay, and so that's today's tasks. Take your time, pause, have a look at it. Okay, You can see here there is a model solution available for this if you wanted to see it after you've submitted code. If you got stuck on those, I have said to you, go to W3 Schools, and I'm going to type in for loops, and it should take me straight there really. Python for loops, I should have typed the word Python as well. And there you can see lots of different stuff in there. Lots of different for loops for us to look at. Okay, those ones are a little bit more complex, but yeah. So that's something that you can do yourself. I hope this was useful. Give me an email if you found it useful. If you're still stuck, pause the video and have a look at it, because these are the solutions. Okay, and I'll speak to you later. Bye bye.